Nets Kingdom.
Fuck that house mob. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it. Niggas just can't take it. Yeah.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage and Cypher. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. All our Instagrams are scrolling. So we're here to talk about the breaking news. I guess you could call it breaking news, but Giannis Antetokounmpo. So there were kind of steps to the Giannis news. First, we heard the Shams on Draft Lottery talk about Giannis is open to moving teams finally. Like he's finally coming out and saying, yeah, I'm available to move and I'm ready to move out. You know, I'm done kind of with Milwaukee. So now we know for sure, like he might be on the, trade block. So after that, we heard Scotto. Scotto dropped an article about a day after the lottery, and Scoop B dropped an article. So I'm going to read real quick what the Hoops Hype article said about Giannis. It said, Brooklyn has been linked to Giannis Antetokounmpo if he desires a new destination heading into the offseason. Yet rival executives question how the Nets would surround him with championship contending talent next season, giving the treasure chest of draft picks it would likely take and salary such as Nick Claxton to make a trade happen on paper. So, yeah, what do you guys think about what Hoops Hype was saying about Giannis being, executives thinking it's it's a tough kind of, deal for the Nets to get him?
Well, the problem is that obviously, we do have like a package to get him. It's just a matter of there's the Spurs that make more sense. I feel like for the Bucks, and ultimately, we could obviously make a package work, but it's a last resort ultimately. And it's if you're trading for Giannis, you have to keep either this pick this year and this 8th pick, or you have to keep this next year's pick. You can't let both of them go.
Yeah, it's tough because with Giannis, the Bucks moving past, it's like they have to think about rebuilding themselves. Like, do they rebuild without their picks? Because it's like, if they deal with us, we have to deal with the New Orleans Pelicans because it just wouldn't make sense, and Giannis wants a winning now situation. I'm pretty sure he wants a win now situation. This is where I'm kind of, get into the Scoop article and some of the articles we've been seeing online that Giannis wants influence where he goes. So I guess he kind of wants control, and that control kind of would lead to him, I got to get another star. So you guys have to, make a move for a star that I want so I can play with, and do you think, Saif, he's going to get that if he comes to Brooklyn? Like, people are saying, I don't know, because we've seen the KD situation happen, and Sean and Josiah did not give KD control. But do you think they changed the rules for Giannis?
Well, the whole thing with Durant is that they did give him control. He just didn't want it and deferred control to Kyrie. And Kyrie just made a million bad decisions and abused it. And then when KD wanted control, Kyrie already burned the bridge. And so it's like at that point, it didn't matter what KD wanted. So I don't know. I think they're so in love with Giannis because Giannis, look, he's a media darling. He has a great reputation. I think they would love him and give him control, and make him happy and do whatever he wants. So I think in that situation, even though from an optics perspective, it would look really bad because Giannis has made a ton of bad decisions in Milwaukee. And look, this is all speculation. It's hard to say if it's really his fault. But Budenholzer getting fired days after his brother died in that playoff run, in that postseason, that playoff run. The hiring of Adrian Griffin, the firing of Adrian Griffin, the Damian Lillard trade. I mean, look, even though if in a vacuum, Giannis may not have been responsible for each of these decisions, he allowed them to happen and he possibly could have advocated for them. So I don't know. I think they would give him control, and I think if it doesn't work out, it would. I don't know. I don't know how Marks would be able to keep his job after that if it fails. Like I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, before I let Rage say if he wants, Giannis, it says here in the article, shout out to Scoop B, friend of the show. Giannis Antetokounmpo would prefer to remain in the Eastern Conference. The reasoning: strategic control, player empowerment, recruiting power, and a desire to shape the next phase of his career on his own terms. Two teams that have emerged as destinations of interest for the two-time MVP are the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets. Why Giannis might eventually move? For years, he's been, NBA's ultimate small market success story, a humble superstar who helped build a champion in Milwaukee from the ground up. But recent seasons have tested that narrative. And in the modern NBA, the idea of staying in one place forever isn't what it used to be. Superstars want to win, but increasingly they want an influence, infrastructure, and the ability to shape a team's future beyond just their own play on the court. So yeah, Rage, do you think that Giannis would be in control? Do you think Josiah or Sean would give him that control?
I think ultimately, if we were to make a move like Giannis, they would, because they know what they're getting. I think it's just the decision of like actually going to make that Giannis move. We saw like kind of how we talked about it, like kind of towards the end, like KD didn't really have any control like at all once Kyrie burned that bridge. So it's like I can't imagine that Sean Marks would just let superstars run him again.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, if you get a Giannis trade, like you're gonna have something like that, and you're gonna have to like, abide by kind of like what he's feeling, and like build a team around him, because that's ultimately the type of player that Giannis is. But yeah,
because everything's still up in the air, because it's like they're not going to trade Giannis unless he requests, and he hasn't requested technically. He just said he's open to the thought of it, and he's like alluding. He's kind of like dry snitching. He's just he's alluding to it.
He's doing what Harden did.
He's putting it in the air. He's putting it in the air.
Look, I think Giannis is out. I think it's. I would be surprised if he came back to Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I'll say this: Tatum just tore his Achilles tendon and is going to be out for the next season. And the Cavaliers are frauds. They just lost in 5 to the Indiana Pacers. I know Garland was dealing with injury, but still, like the East is legitimately wide open. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's this could work for the Nets in 2 ways. One could be Giannis and the Bucks could sell themselves on a situation where they say, hey, let's try to retool and run it back again next year and see what happens, because there's so much less competition in the Eastern Conference and the West is a bloodbath. Or the Nets could be like, oh, the East is open. Let's trade everything for Giannis. Try to get New Orleans into this trade, figure something out where they could get their picks in, and get Giannis, and then use free agency in the rest of your draft picks to trade for another star, possibly Donovan Mitchell, possibly Trae Young, and just try to go for a run in the East next year.
Yeah. Because to me, like I said, and this is the final thing I'll say about Giannis, yes, I understand the Nets have the market. Yes, I understand he possibly, he would start with a blank slate, and I know we're going to be linked because of the flexibility we have, the picks and the cap space and the New York City. But to me, it's just, if I'm the Bucks and, I'm waiting for a call, I'm probably going to wait for the Spurs to call me with that number 2 pick, or, some offer of Stephon Castle or whatever. I'm going to wait for the Rockets to call me with, Amen Thompson or some type of deal for Suns picks. Like, I want some type of value, really strong value for Giannis, because Giannis is not cheap. Giannis is for sure not going to be cheap, and we don't have the players technically to match up in that deal. And our picks, we have a ton, but it's not crazy worth. It's not like gold. These picks that we have are not gold. You know what I'm saying? It's not gold. Those Suns picks, oof. The Rockets have gold. The Pelicans, gold, because they have the Bucks picks. They have their future pick, the Bucks future picks. You know what I'm saying? So those are the gold. We don't have really that much gold in our asset management, So it's a lot. We have a lot, but it's not gold. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Do you guys think this Giannis move is gonna happen? Do you think it's all just propaganda? Do you think it's just not gonna happen? Do you think it's just, let us know. Appreciate you guys so much. Hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram at Nets Kingdom 1. All our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom. And we'll be back.